from me, I should be something better.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
At some point, I thought, you could not hear me. Anyway, can you all see my screen?
Oh, yeah, the infection
Professor.
prevention is central.
Yeah, we can see.
All right. Is it clear?
Oh, yeah. Actually,
All right, good.
these are in bold, so it's good.
All right, good. All right, we'll give it a minute or two, then we can start. Before that, let me do something very quick. I'll be right back. All right. Our instructor today is Charles. Charles was introduced to you yesterday. He would be treating infection prevention in central sterile. And we noticed that the slide is now, the homework is not consistent with what we have as a quiz for chapter 5 on the website. We are working by the end of this session, it should be rectified. Just in case you have attempted doing it, you might see that the order is a little bit off. That's because at the time that this was built, the order was, this way. But when they updated the book, the order changed. Chapter 5 went to chapter 6, and the chapter 6 came to be chapter 5. So by the time, we're done, I'm working on this end to rectify that. I think we have enough people to start, Professor Charles, you can proceed when you are ready.
Alrighty, good afternoon, class.
Is it me or your voice seemed a little bit far? Can everybody hear you?
Yeah.
Can you hear me clear, right?
Yes.
Okay. In case you don't hear, in case it goes off a bit, just let me know. Good afternoon. My name is Charles Japan. You can call me Charles, all right? So, as we said yesterday, you guys had enough into microbiology and all those things that are so scary, but they are simple to actually work with. So today we're doing infection prevention in central service. This chapter actually addresses how central service professionals like you going to be you will be controlling the spread of microorganisms and prevent infection. All right. So learning objectives that we have today, we have 5 objectives to explain the role of central service in the prevention of healthcare associated surgical infections. That is going to be one of our objectives. We have to be able to explain that. And then explain the principles, practice, and importance of personal hygiene and attire, which means the PPE that we use, including personal protective equipment. Okay. And number 3 will be to identify the hazards of bloodborne pathogens and how the Occupational Safety and Health Administration requirements impact personal safety. That's the OSHA. You got to know more about OSHA because they take care of our safety as workers in central service. Then explain the rationale for the separation of clean and dirty and the environmental requirements for maintaining that separation. Finally, we will discuss the chain of infection and the technician's role in breaking that chain. So these are the things that you need here. We may have to move a bit faster so we can discuss the things in detail, because this is going to be the basis of your work. All right, this is going to be the basis of your work. And then for the exams and the licensing and everything, whatever you'll be doing to get certified, most of your questions will be coming from this unit. Most of your questions will be coming from this unit. It has to be well understood because it's about your safety, it's about patient care, and it's about central service, okay? So this is how it is. So this chapter addresses how you, the professional, will control the spread of microorganisms and prevent infection, okay? You're going to play a significant role in the prevention of surgical site infections, okay, and healthcare associated infections, which actually we talk about the AIs, which is the healthcare associated infections, and then the SSIs, which we go into detail as we go. All right. So Director, can I go on the next slide that you have on? I'm trying to get them into the central service processes. All right. Hello? Amda, I have a question? No? Okay. All right. So we're going to the central service processes. That's what I want.
Before we go ahead, who is Majesty? I'm not familiar with that name. I know yesterday he was on, but I'm not familiar. What is your registered name? Majesty. Oh, Majesty.
Maybe it's on mute or something.
Yeah, he's mute. He or she is mute. Majesty, I know, I remember I've told everyone to use the name that they register just so that we know that everyone here is supposed to be here. Majesty. All right, so some people just join and they leave. So I'm going to put him in the waiting room. When they come, they will join again. All right. I'm sorry to interrupt. You can continue. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So a lot of times I'm going to be referring to you as guys. It's a normal jargon in America, so don't be worried about it. Don't be offended about it. But ladies and gentlemen, what we're going to do is say that if you are on this program, please identify yourself. If you have to use somebody's computer, which means your name is going to change on the screen, please notify the director so he knows that, oh, you switch a computer or device, and this is the name that is going to show up. Okay, so that we can also always know who is on the system. All right, so we're going to central service processes. Every step in central service counts because they are carefully designed to prevent poor patient outcomes or poor patient care. Right? The question that we have to ask ourselves is that, can you think of any situation in central service that can lead to a negative patient outcome? Is it possible to think anything like that? Like, okay, what if I'm working there as a central tech? Is it possible that I can do something that's going to bring about a negative outcome somewhere? Certainly, yes. You don't even have to answer me. Certainly, yes. Everything you do there has to come out with something good. But there is also the possibility that you can do something there which is going to bring a bad result. And that is the reason why you need this training. Okay. And that's the reason why central service is very important in the healthcare system. So when central service procedures are used to avert such unwanted situations to ensure successful patient care or patient outcomes. And this will include the decontamination, which is one of the processes. That's the first process. It's about the decontamination, which is cleaning the contaminated or dirty devices. A lot of times we're going to be talking of decon. At times we call it decon, especially when you go to the field. But it's all about decontamination. And when we say dirty or soiled, it means it's decontaminated. All right. So most of the time, that's what is going to be called decon. When I say decon, it means decontamination. Okay. So the first process is decontamination, or cleaning the contaminated or instruments that have come from the OR. Then the next one is inspection. After cleaning, you have to inspect these instruments, which we'll go into details as we go. And then after inspection, it has to be assembled and packaged. So after decon, we see that the instrument becomes safe to handle. And that's where you can do the inspection and then do the assembling and packaging. Using the appropriate sterilization parameters to get the instrument sterilized will be the next step after you have assembled and packaged it. The parameters, it's not just a jargon, but it's about certain specific instructions that will be given to you about how this is going to cook, what temperature you need, and how long it's going to stay in the autoclave. So when you see the parameters, you don't have to worry about it. It's not your duty. The director will set it up for you. And when you press the autoclave, you know what to select and how to get those parameters working for you. So a lot of times you're going to hear the parameters. They are just some standards that we use in there for certain temperatures and how long some should stay in. So you as soon as you get those appropriate sterilization parameters, it means you're getting these things into sterile situations that we want them so that it can be used for surgical procedures. Okay, so the process involves decontamination, inspection, assembling and packaging, and then using the right parameters to sterilize it. After sterilizing it, you have to do like safe transportation, safely transporting them for storage until needed. Then delivering them safely by methods that protect the integrity of the sterility so that they don't get compromised before they get to the OR. Does anyone have any question up to this point? Okay. So all this must be carried out with great attention to detail. That's why I keep saying that most of your job is going to be built on this. Most of your job will come from these processes. So all these must be carried out with great attention to details, understanding of specific protocols that we do, the parameters, and then following the manufacturer's instruction for use. So I heard Prof kept mentioning IFU. It's a very important thing that you have to take care of. It tells you, if you're holding a paper, it tells you what the manufacturer wants you to do with it and how to treat it before it gets to the OR, all right? Every exam that you do here, most of them will have the IFUs on there. It should be a bonus question for you. It should be a bonus question for you. Always the manufacturer's instruction for use is what is going to tell you what that instrument is going to be used for and how you have to wash it, how you have to decontaminate it, how you have to sterilize it. So always remember the IFU. That should be a bonus question for you wherever you go. All right. So as we go on, are there any causes for alarm or any reasons why these processes or protocols are very important to central service? That should be a question that we should ask ourselves. And I know somebody will be asking by now, look. So all this is telling us, is there any cause for alarm? Definitely yes. Definitely yes. We need all this because there is a cause for concern, okay? And this includes like the 2021 CDC report. The CDC, Center for Disease Control and Prevention, they came out with a report indicating that 1 out of every 25 hospitalized patients contracted a healthcare-associated infection which is the AIs that we keep talking of. This number, if you put it in numerals, it comes to about 722,000 patients. Okay? Out of this number, about 75,000 died during their hospitalization. Is this not scary enough?
Okay, Gani.
This is scary enough, right? So, do you think many of these infections were preventable? Yes. Do you think many of these infections were preventable? Certainly, yes. Absolutely, yes. So, what is our responsibility here then? If those ones were preventable, then what is our responsibility here? Our responsibility will be to efficiently prevent healthcare infections and control the spread of our at our facilities. Okay, we will first protect ourselves with appropriate PPEs and follow the manufacturer's IFUs, information for use, together with all safety precautions to ensure good patient care outcomes. Okay, our safety and the safety of all our colleagues, it's in our hands. Don't forget about even the stakeholders. Yeah, people will come in there. You have so many stakeholders in this section anyway. Because the OR is the primary place where you'll be supplying your stuff. You don't know who is the patient there. You don't know who is the doctor there. But everybody there is subject to whatever you send in there. If it goes contaminated, it affects everybody in there, not only just the patient. And even you, the one that processed it. If you didn't do it right, you get yourself hurt too. You get other people sick too, which is going to mean you are going to spread this microorganism that we want to control. We're going to spread the infections that we want to control. All right. I didn't mention earlier about the SSI, which is a surgical site infection. All right. As I said, it's a surgical, like at the OR, a surgical site infection. It's an infection that occurs after surgery and at times affects the part of the body where the surgery took place. According to the CDC, as many as 3 out of every 100 surgical patients develop this SSI in a year. All right, that's another concern. So surgical procedures per year in the US alone is about 51.4 million. So imagine these procedures, 51.4 million. Infection is a major risk in these procedures because if you're making incisions, cutting, getting in touch with blood, getting in touch with all the cells that Prof told us yesterday about these cells and these millions of cells, tissues and everything. Mucus, we're getting everything. So if you go into all these procedures, there is a likely risk of infection. 51.4 million procedures in a year. 51.4 million, okay? And one thing we should know is in your textbook, I don't know if you've already read it. It says there's a growing number of microorganisms that are becoming resistant to antibiotics and naturally difficult to control now. That is another concern, right? That is another concern. So if you look at our objectives, the second one said infection prevention principles and practices. So these principles and practices should be able to help us control all these things that we're talking about. What scares me most is the naturally difficult to control microorganisms that are getting resistant to other antibiotics. So it's not like a straightforward thing that we're going to use one format and get everything. I remember a director telling us of a late notification they gave him about a patient that had this disease that we call the mad cow disease. Imagine that. The professor told you, just remember the Jacob, and you always remember that disease. It's so difficult to treat it or to cure or actually to take care of it in the sterilization process. So he had to go in quickly to go and change certain parameters, which are the standards that we use for the sterilization to make sure it takes care of it. But it was even late, all right? Thank God nobody got anything from that. But that is what we are facing. And so you always have to be attentive to all these protocols and these practices. So please take this section very, very serious. Because I've told you about 60% of your work is going to be from here. And wherever you go, whatever exams you write, you are going to meet these things. They are always going to be there. Unlike the other chapters that you get 1 or 2, 1 or 3. These ones you're going to meet it everywhere you go. Okay? So based on knowledge of the nature and characteristics of diseases or the disease-causing microorganisms, okay, we look at these things like understanding of the transmission of these disease-causing microorganisms in the healthcare environment, and their place in the chain of infection. So you have to understand them, and that's the reason why you're doing this, to get certified. You should be able to understand their transmission in the healthcare environment and their place in the chain of infection. Once you know that, oh, I can do this and I can do that to control this, to prevent this, to keep myself safe too, and to get the right patient care outcomes that you want. We have figure 6.1, which gives you a list of HAI causing pathogens, which Prof will say the unfriendly microorganisms as identified by the CDC. All right, that's the figure 6.1. I don't know if yeah, you should have it up there. The figure 6.1. It tells you, it gives you a list of these HAIs, which I've told you that healthcare associated infections. They are there. You see the norovirus and all those things, they're there. I don't want to waste time on them that much, but they are there. So all you need to know is that there are HAIs, which are healthcare associated infections. In a lot of the questions you're going to have it. So make sure you know a lot about it. The book gives you a lot, and then the examples too are there for you to master a couple of them. That will be simple to keep in mind. All right. So take care of that. So a point of interest here is there's a word that is on there as biocidal, which is a process in the book. And one thing, let me highlight this for you. The book has a lot of gray portions. Maybe it could be a light green, I don't know, but on the computer, at times I see it as a gray portion. It has highlighted technical words in there, like by some of them are more biological, but then whatever is there is related to central cells. Keep note of that, because most of them will be on those tests. Like biocidal is a process or ability to kill or control the growth of living organisms. It could be there, just blunt like that. You can't miss that. So take care of those things. Look at all those gray portions. It's like light green portions in the book. Always make sure you glance through them and try to get a meaning of those ones, because it will give you a better understanding of all the microorganisms, their transmission, and how they bring about diseases. Okay, so now we go on to the chain of infection, which is protection from pathogens. And I remember I keep telling you that the pathogens was what Prof said, that unfriendly bacteria and other microorganisms, right? There are few, but they are unfriendly ones. So always remember. So how are we going to protect ourselves from these pathogens? See, initially, I think CDC in the 1970s came out with the quarantine or the isolation precautions, which actually became very popular during the COVID. Even kids knew about quarantine. Some say quarantine, some say quarantine. It's about isolation. Okay, that's one of the measures that the CDC used in the 1970s. And then we have standard precautions, which are, have been adapted to protect healthcare staff and patients from infectious diseases on the basis of treating all human blood, bodily fluids, and other potentially infectious materials as infectious. It's like, what do we say? No tolerance of anything. Don't underestimate anything that comes to the central cells. Anything that comes to the decon, don't underestimate it. Look at it as infectious. Whether it's a loner tree that is coming from another hospital, sterilized already, still consider it as infectious. Treat it the same way you treat anything coming from the OR. All right? That should be your standard precaution. Treat it as such. Anything that comes there, treat it as infectious. Stay away as much as you can. Put on your PPE or your protective gear before handling it. Okay? So that's your standard precaution. And that's what we have this quarantine. Quarantine comes in sometime because there are times there are certain, when you're in the decon, there are certain instruments that will bring. This is impracticality. They'll tell you, oh, this is HIV, or this is that. A lot of times we separate those ones from the other instruments. we take care of the HIV completely by itself, wash our sinks and everything, change our clothes, our VP, and then bring in the others to clean. So quarantine still counts in where you isolate the instruments in a way, but then your standard precaution should be treat anything that comes there as infectious. Okay. So we're going to go to our principles of asepsis. Asepsis is the absence of disease causing microorganisms. It's a term in our field, which you're going to be seeing it on the test anywhere you go. I don't know if you've already seen it in the few ones that you've done. Asepsis is everywhere in central service. Okay, it is the absence of disease causing microorganisms. The absence of disease causing microorganisms. So when we say aseptic technique, it's an activity or procedure that prevents infection or breaks the chain of infection. Is everybody with me?
Yeah.
If I'm too fast, let me know. Because this is the basis of your work. Alrighty?
Yeah, Professor, that's fine.
Okay. So everything here is going to be on your on a lot of the tests that you'll be doing. So if anything, let me know quick. Okay. So now I've told you about asepsis, and then when we say aseptic technique is like an activity or procedure that prevents the infection or breaks the chain of infection, which is going to be your number one job, breaking the chain of infection. Breaking the chain of infection. That is your number one job, okay? So the two types that we have here are the medical asepsis or the clean technique, such as hand washing, and then the surgical asepsis or sterile or surgical technique, such as the sterilization of instruments. Okay, and normally at home, when we eat, we put our dishes down and we just clean them, right? We just wash them. It does really have to medical asepsis. Then take it for as an example. After washing them, after washing your cooking utensils, do you think that you see every microorganism on it gone or something? You think so? You think after washing it, like washing your own utensils and putting them, they saying they are clean. Do you think they are clean as you think they should be clean?
No.
Okay. So, and that's the reason why we did the second one, which is the surgical asepsis. Because we don't see microorganisms with our naked eye, we are going to need this surgical one, which is going to do the sterilization, which takes care of almost everything. Okay, so you see the difference. You're going to have it in a lot of the tests. It's going to tell you what is it and what does it mean. So be clear with that. It's two. They are all in that same group, but then one takes care of some and one takes care of everything to make it safe. Especially like from the decon, when we wash things, put them in the washer, and it comes down out of the washer to the clean side, they are safe to handle now, okay? But that doesn't mean they are sterile, all right? That doesn't mean they are sterile, but then that gives us the opportunity to handle them safely. Look at the broken pieces, those that need assembled, we assemble them, package them nicely, put your indicators in there before you put the right parameters to get them. We usually say we're cooking them. When we're sterilizing them, you're gonna hear it a lot. Oh, is it cooking? The nurses will come and ask you, or the techs will come and ask you, do you have anything cooking? That's what we say, okay? That is when we have instruments in the autoclaves, actually going through this 270 degrees thing for 4 minutes, some for how long? And then they're drying up for 30 minutes and then taking it out. So that is it. You're gonna hear we're cooking it. Okay, it means we're doing the surgical technique where we're sterilizing the instruments. All right. So you gotta be friendly with those things. So to achieve asepsis, as we said, there are 5 basic principles. All right. Can someone tell us what the principle is? Anybody to tell us what the principle is? You know, some people say, hey, I'm very principled, or my dad is very principled. All right. So you see, it's a fundamental truth or position that serves as a foundation, okay, for a system or a belief. This is my principle. I don't lie to anybody. This is my principle. I don't like delays. I don't want to be late for anything. This is my principles. I always want to do the truth. I want to do the right thing. Okay? Those are personal principles that some take it up. But the whole thing is that it should be a fundamental truth or position that serves as a foundation for you. Like my director, I know him. He's very strict with certain things, but he's going to play with you. But he's still going to hit the nail on the head. That's a principle. Because this job is like that. No compromise. If you compromise, you could be compromising your own health. And then you'll be compromising the patient's self, doctors, everybody there. So long as you compromise something, it goes a long way. The chain continues. You were supposed to break it. But since you compromised somewhere, you couldn't break it. So always remember, there's no compromise there. Okay? So the 5 basic principles here are that you must know what is dirty. And when we say dirty, what is contaminated. All right? You must know what is dirty, what is contaminated. Then the second one is to know what is clean. You know, something has come out of the decon. Okay, it's clean. They say, oh, it came out of the decon. It's not sterilized yet, though, but it's clean. It's safe to handle. But then the one that has not even gone through the decon, just coming from the OR, it's soiled, it's dirty, it's contaminated. So first, know which one is contaminated. Secondly, you must know what is clean. The third principle will be what is sterile. Remember, sterility is impossible to see with your naked eyes. Do we all believe that? Do we believe that? Because we cannot see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we cannot see it. So you must know what is sterile. But then at that same point, remember that your eyes cannot tell you this is sterile. So if it has if it has gone through sterility, has all the parameters, the stickers on them, the tapes that change color, everything is on them, you know that, okay, this is sterile. Why do you have to know it? You have to know it because you don't have to engage in cross-contamination where that one is going to come across a dirty one, a dirty instrument. Okay? That's why you have to know which one is sterile. When we get the sterile ones, they are taped, they are packaged with tape. The tapes change color, which we will get there at another time. They change color, they are wrapped nicely, and then when we bring them back, we put them at sterile storage places. Make sure you don't mix them with dirty instruments. So you have to know which one is sterile. You know where we place the sterile ones. Good. And the fourth one will be to keep the first 3 conditions, which is knowing the dirty one, knowing the clean one, and knowing the sterile one. Keep these 3 conditions separate from each other. Do we get that? These 3 conditions must be separate from each other. The dirty one, the clean one, and the sterile one. They must be separate from each other. How will central service professionals do that? You clean, the clean or the decontaminated items must not come in contact with the dirty items. And that's what we call cross-contamination. And note it anywhere you go, you're going to see cross-contamination on any test that you write, because it's one of the biggest problems of central service. You can clean something, sterilize it, and then go and put it next to a dirty or a contaminated instrument. You messed everything up already. Cross-contamination must not happen. That is why I said no compromise. There is no compromise. It must not happen. Sterile items should not be stored in a place where there is the risk of becoming soiled or wet. Okay, because the presence of moisture always allows the passage of microorganisms through the wrappers, resulting in contamination of sterile supplies. So you have to know that. Make sure that your sterile items should not be stored in places like near the sink. Oh, okay? Because there's a risk of becoming soiled or wet, in which you compromise and allow the passage of microorganisms. So that's one way that you have to. So this all these 5 that we've done 4 now. The 5th one is to remedy the contamination immediately in case it happens, in case they come across each other, in case you put a sterile one next to mistakenly somebody put a sterile one next to a clean one. You have to act immediately. All right, remedy the situation immediately. No careless attitude. You see that no careless attitude should be compromised, should be allowed there, since it can lead to an increased risk of infection. Act immediately. Don't say that, oh, Yusuf did it, so I'm not taking care of it. No, you are in the same boat. You are in the same. If he forgets and he does that, please take care of it right away. Remedy the contamination immediately. Correct. Once you look at this 5, you should be able to know that, okay, these are the principles and I'm going to take care of that. And you will be doing good in the central service. So long as you remember these 5 principles of our services, knowing the dirty one, knowing the clean one, knowing the sterile, and then making sure they don't come in, they don't cross paths. Like, oh, I put this one here, that was a narrow. No, they don't have to cross paths. It's a one-way traffic in sterile processing. It's a one-way traffic in sterile processing. The instruments come one way, they go the other way through like that. It's a one-way traffic to avoid cross-contamination. So always remember this 5 principles of asepsis is going to be on your test in different ways. They'll modify it, try to trick you, but that is the basis. Know the clean, know the dirty, know the sterile, make sure they don't cross paths, and then remedy the situation as soon as it happens. All right? No matter who did it, even if your director did it, don't think that your director knows what he was doing. That's why he put it there. It was a mistake. Do it right away. Correct it, okay? Because we are humans. We can do things without even knowing that we did it. So if you see it, remedy the contamination immediately. If you have to go for reprocessing, forget about the time that it's going to consume. Take it to the reprocessing. Unwrap it and do it all over. We do it all the time. There's a funny thing at the OR that at the central service that it could be a joke to you, but look at it this way. When we do or we follow these processes and assemble our instruments, do the trays, what happens is sometimes after wrapping it nicely, you ask yourself, did I put an indicator in there? Then you see your mind will tell you, no, I didn't put it. And then you say, no, I did it. No, I did it. So at that point, what do? You don't take the chance of going to sterilize it. You have to unwrap it, no matter how nice you wrapped it. You have to unwrap it. Or else you're going to go home thinking till the next morning whether I did it or not. So why give yourself that hell? No compromise. Remember, no compromise. So we just open it again. Make sure the indicator is in there. If it's not in there, put it in there. If it's there, good. All right? At least you have a peace of mind when you get home. Okay? So that is it. So no careless attitude. It's no compromise, one-way traffic, and no careless attitude at the central service. Okay? Any questions up to now? All right, so let's look at the infection prevention and control goals of the central service. You've seen the asepsis. Take good care of the asepsis, please. You have no reason to miss a question on that in case it comes, please. You have no reason to miss a question on that, to get it wrong. It's not going to happen. Don't do it. Okay, so the infection prevention and control goals of the CS department is 1, to eliminate all potentially infectious contaminants present on reusable instruments and equipment. Okay? We have to eliminate all potential infectious contaminants. That's our goal. And then the second goal is to safely distribute the reusable and single-use items required for the delivery of patient care. That is one of our goals too. It must happen because that is the reason why we have that center. And then the third one will be to establish and enforce standards for decontamination, disinfection, and sterilization in various healthcare settings. At times you'll be at the OR, at the decon, and the doctor will come with an instruction that, oh, I need this instrument in the next 30 minutes. It's good that you can get it for them in the next 30 minutes, but what about the parameters? What about the process? What about the aseptic activity that you're going to go through? Is it enough? Is 30 minutes enough? No compromise. You have to explain to the doctor that 30 minutes may not be enough for this. I'm going to do it my best to get it out, but 30 minutes may not be enough. So we're just going to go through the normal procedure and get it to you as soon as possible. That's all you can do. And that's the best situation that what you can do. We have flash sterilization that we'll talk about later, but all that have set parameters. You can't compromise it. You can't rush it. It has to go through the processes, okay? All the 5 you have to do it. Make sure it's clean, and then make sure it's sterilized, and make sure it gets there as they need it, safely, without the sterility compromise. No, okay? So these are the 3 goals. So you can't compromise anything. And then you have to, like some will say, just stay your grounds. It's not about staying your grounds. Just let people, when they come to ask for something and you think that it's going to be something is going to be compromised, just let them know the truth that, oh, this is the situation here. This thing takes this. These are the parameters. So please, we're going to do it as quickly as possible, but then it's going to take this much. If it's 30 minutes, you just tell them, okay, it's going to take 45 minutes or an hour. Fine. Because remember, even after sterilizing it, it needs to cool down. When you open it, you can't just take it out and go give to them after 270 degrees. No, there'll be some kind of condensation, which you know later. So always establish and enforce standards for decontamination, disinfection, and sterilization in various healthcare settings. When you are there, please stand and make sure that these things that you are learning, you're going to be using it there. Don't let anybody come and push you that, oh, do it that way, and then you go and falter and cause that the outcome that you don't want. Okay? So preventing the spread of microorganisms. I think the first thing that is in the book is about the personal hygiene and attire, which is personal hygiene, which has more to do with you as the individual, all right, as a professional. The personal hygiene and attire is more to the PPE that we're going to be using, all right? So that one, I don't think I'm going to spend too much time on it, but personal hygiene, hand washing and all that, the book clarifies everything. And it's not just going to be the normal hand washing that we do at home. When you go to the OR, you see these doctors washing, they wash all the way to the elbow. And there are images in the book that tells you about it too. They wash all the way to their elbows and they hold their hands up like that to get into the OR. We have to do similar washing, right? We have to make sure we're washing cleanly, practicing the hand washing. The book tells us all that. So after our standard precautions, I think we should talk about that. Does anybody have any idea about how our PPEs are? The personal hygiene and our attire. Does anybody have an idea of it?
Yeah.
What do you know about our PPE, the attire?
Yeah, the gown and the
Yeah, we have the scrubs that we wear.
the facial mask, the hand gloves,
Yes.
and the nose mask,
Okay. Yeah, we have that.
The shoe covers.
Anything else?
and the shoe covers and the head
Shoe covers.
and the
Yeah,
head
shoe
scarf.
covers. Yes. You see how many things you're mentioning? And especially at the decon, you're going to need all that. At the decon, you're going to need all that. The hand washing, the gloves. At our place right now, what we do is before we get to the decon, we go to the locker room, get our PP, our scrubs, and then we have the silk gloves, which is the latex one, which we just put on our face mask. So as soon as we get to the decon, we have to, and then we put on our cap. So we have the cap, the face mask, and then our the latex gloves, and then the scrubs. And we have the shoe cover too, which is the regular one. And then as soon as we get to the decon, we're going to put on an additional the face shield, right? On top of the mask that we have. Okay, and then we're going to put that the gown too. We're going to put it, and then we're going to put another shoe cover. You get it? So you see that it's like intact. We have to make sure we put in the PPE, which is our attire. It has to be intact. Beside that, the personal hygiene is the hand washing and making sure you're keeping everything clean. The PP, the scrubs, what you use today, you're not going to use it tomorrow.
For you about your grant approval.
You put it back there at the most of the hospitals have places that you just put it back and take another one, and we do the same thing. We don't have to use one twice. Okay, so that it's part of the standard precautions. You have to make sure that hygiene, personal hygiene, is good, and then your attire is also good enough. Don't contaminate anything. The book talks about even those that wear t-shirts, they have to be completely covered if you put on the scrubs. All right? So the attire, I'm going to leave it to you to read more about it, because the dressing, we have, the book tells the order of it, which is also always on the test. Pay attention to the CDC one. The CDC has the order of donning the PPE. If you have questions, we could go through that. But it's clear in the book, and that you have to actually look at. When you look at that, in this chapter, when you go to that side and the hand washing, there are images in the book that shows you how they're washing their hands. But then it even goes beyond that when you are doing it practically. As I told you that, yeah, you see the images to your right. Okay. See the hand washing. So they're talking about the hand washing procedure. You have to remove all jewelry, which is understandable. So I don't even want to go through one by one. That's anybody has any question about the hand washing right now? Especially the women with the nails. Anybody has any question about that?
No.
Okay, so we understand it. And we have to make sure we are doing it, okay? Because we are talking about microorganisms that we don't see. So anything that will compromise our situation there has to be taken care of by us in the name of personal hygiene. Are we all okay with that?
Yep.
Okay, so we're going to play that on our by ourselves. The fabric for the regular fabric, I don't think the images will do us any justice. But you know, when you've seen people in the hospitals wearing gowns and all that. But then, as time goes on, I'll arrange my director to see if we can get practical ones that we can bring in, and you see maybe that will be clearer, and that will give you a better experience of the texture and how they are, and the conditions that, and how we put them. We could even do it in class if we have to. Since we're doing video calls, we could do it. All right. So the pictures, as you see a lot of them. The people you can see who, yeah. See here in the this is a central service place. You see the different gowns that they're wearing and the PPEs. They're different. This is how you're going to be dressed. This is how you are going to be dressed. Depending on which facility you go to, that's how you're going to be dressed. You're going to make use of it because that is what is going to keep you safe and keep other people safe. You have to manage the environment, okay, to prevent the spread of bacteria. And that's why we have all this, especially in the management of the environment. The first step is maintaining your environmental integrity, okay? Controlling the traffic, which I told you before we even get to this page. You have to control it. Make sure that the technique that we've told you, the aseptic activity is going the way it should go. No compromise. Okay? And we see the types of the PPEs, which I'm not going to also waste too much time on the graph. As I told you, the images may not help us that much. We would do our best to get you something that may be on video live. I can demonstrate it so you see how it is. And then the donning, pay good attention to this page. I don't want to use page numbers because of the old edition and the new edition. But this very page you see on the screen now, take good note of it. It should be a bonus question for you. At least you get 2 or 3 bonus questions from this on any certification test that you take. It's a controversial thing, but then this is with CDC reference. This, we can quote CDC as putting it up. CDC recommended for doffing PPE, putting on the PPE and taking it off. Alrighty? Anybody has any question about this page? How to put it on?
No, good.
Okay. In certain areas like certain hospitals, they may have other things in addition, but these are the basic things that you're going to be using. And we use this. As I explained it to you earlier, we dress from the locker room with our scrubs. And me, for instance, anywhere you meet me in the hospital, I have my mask on. Okay? Anywhere you meet me, whether it's a restricted area or not, as you see coming up, we have restricted areas in 3 levels of it. But then anywhere you see me in the hospital, I have on my mask. The first thing I do when I get into the building, put my scrubs on, I put on my mask. Okay? Because you have to save yourself too. All right? You will wash your hands, have the mask on, walk to the department and take care of the rest. So this page, please take care of this page that we just left. You have to keep it. I don't want to talk about page numbers, but it's the type of the PPE, how to put it on and how to take it off. It's always on the test. So make sure you're taking care of that. Right. So managing the environment. As I mentioned earlier, that is what we're doing now. Taking care of all these things to manage the environment. Dress code requirements may change as CS technicians move from one area to the other, which I told you. Practically in the hospital, they are clearly marked. They tell you here, you need this attire to get here. And then you go into the lunch room is a different thing. Even the SPD at our doors are not open to everybody. Not everybody can come to the SPD. You have to be dressed completely to come to the SPD. You have to have everything, your mask and everything to come to the SPD. The OR, you can't go there without a mask. Can't go there with any attire. You have to go with the PPE and the mask and the head, a cap, right? Those are 3 levels. The book takes care of that. Make sure you are going to read it, because even though the 3 levels don't normally show up like that, but then the PPE shows up all the time. The PPE, you can't beat it. It tells you, the book tells you what to wear. Take good care of them. All right? There are certain pages that are very important and you have to take, and the signs like the biohazard symbol, the biohazard waste container, they are all practical in the hospital. This is part of organizing. We have where we put needles or sharps when we dispose, we just throw anything anywhere. No. And that's part of managing your environment. You see those symbols, you have to know these symbols. The biohazard symbol, the biohazard waste container, they are all important. The sharps container, mostly at my end, the sharps container is in the decon. So wherever we have to dispose of a sharp, we put it over there. We take it there and put it in. All right. So as we go, you're going to see those signs. You have to pay attention to them. I'm not going to waste too much time on them here. We're going to talk of what you see on the screen right now is the OSHA bloodborne pathogen standard. Okay. OSHA is one of the agencies that actually will do it in detail, that protects the worker on the job. It fights for you to get what you need to put on to be safe on the job. Okay. It's about occupational safety. All right. So as we go, it's one of the organizations that you must know. But then we have a chapter that takes care of all that. You must know that organization, because they'll ask you, what do they do? And they'll put the situation and ask you who takes care of that. So this particular page, please take note of it. It may be very, I don't know if you see it clearly, but at least you have the books. So you can take note in your book, mark the page and take good care of that, read it. You see the work area cleanliness. The cleaner the work area, the more likely that the products prepared here will be safe. Is that not true? This is as simple as anything. The cleaner the place is, the better the chance of coming out with goods that are good, and that will bring our good patient outcomes. All right? So all this that the book has, there's nothing new. It's just that they're reinforcing certain things that we should know. Our work area, the temperatures, you see it right there. It tells you decontamination. Yesterday, Prof said about how some organisms even die, they start dying when they get into the decon because of this temperature, okay? So you see that everything is organized in a way to help promote the asepsis that we try to do, to help promote the safe outcomes that we need to get for patient care. So the temperatures are there, and please look at the temperatures, because the questions too, a lot of times it asks you what the temperature of the decon. The air exchanges. You see the numbers that we have there? If it tells you there's 10 air exchanges, it looks a bit technical to you. But under normal circumstances, the decon has air exchanges, which is like, I think 10, it's like every 6 minutes. So if you get 10 in an hour, it's every 6 minutes, there's going to be an air exchange in there. And it has a negative air situation there, whereby the air in there doesn't flow into the clean side. It rather flows, it stays in there and flows out of that place, but not into the clean side. Now, that's all something that you got to know as we keep going. But then these temperatures mark them. They are in a lot of questions. The sterile storage is 75 degrees Fahrenheit or lower, okay? It must not exceed the 70, the humidity must not, and it's gonna come. So please mark this table and make good use of it. So the work area, as we keep going, there's a term that came up, it said formites. Can anyone read it? Who has the textbook? Read what it tells you about the formite. I think on the old edition is page 113. Director, do you have the new edition with that page for the formite? The work area cleanliness.
Yeah, hold on. No, give me a minute.
Yeah,
Okay, it says that An inanimate object that can transmit bacteria. Okay,
It's 81.
is 81 in the new one?
81.
Yeah, it's 81. The last
Okay.
edition.
So
Guys,
make
if you
sure
don't
that-
have if you are here and you don't have the book, please let me know. I can arrange for the book to be sent to you. Razak, your book should be you should receive your book by Friday. If you don't have a copy of the book, let me know. I will ship it tonight and have it sent to you by Friday. Okay, Razak, yours should be on the way. Okay.
Okay.
The new edition, of course.
All right, so the format, it says what? An inanimate object that can transmit bacteria. And those are the objects that you're going to be dealing with anyway, okay? So if you see the text and it tells you, it uses that term, the format, you know that is the same thing that you are dealing with, the inanimate objects that you are taking care of. Those that they can all transmit bacteria. So the test could tell you that, ask you that with that term. Don't be stranded with it. It should be a bonus question for you. That's why I said earlier on that all those green spots that you see in the book, those green sections, like either green or gray, take good note of those. At times they just twist it around. It should be a bonus question for you. So by understanding this chapter, you should be at least 30% ahead. Okay? Should be at least 30% ahead after studying this chapter. For most of the things here, we're going to give you the practical experience how it is, and then you looking at the academic side of it. Go in and just nail it. Most of the time, you being pioneers, trust me, you're going to be the ambassadors of charisma, okay? And we're going to make sure that you are going to be the real ambassadors, very good ambassadors, of course. I didn't get all this, but now I'm giving it to you, okay? To make good use of this opportunity at Charisma. So now we've seen the format. In case you see it as a question, don't worry about it. There's something about beverages. Food and beverages should not be allowed in the central service work area. I don't have to be asked questions about this, why or why not. We know why, right? So we're not going to spend too much time on it. We know why. We should not take beverages in there. We don't drink, not even water. We don't drink water in there, even though we have fountains in there to clean. We have this pipe to wash our stuff. The eye washing, the dispensers are all there, but we don't drink water in there. We don't carry water bottles in there. Okay? So you have to know that before you even set foot in there. And if you have any question asking you about those things, don't make the mistake to say that because we are humans, you could drink water. Then no. No beverages, put water in it, add water to it. Food should not be allowed because it may also constitute what? Because it will be like a contaminant. It could be it can bring out contaminated items. It can be part of the contamination. You don't have to do it. Even when we go outside, clothes that we wear from the central service unit, we don't have to take it outside and bring it back in there. You don't walk on the street and bring it back in there. That's how serious we have to get with this central service, okay? That is how serious we have to get with the work area cleanliness. Environmental cleaning, the book touches about that, but that is about housekeeping, which is a lot of times it's not in our hands. But what we do at my section right now, when we get in, we try to wipe all our surfaces. Our workstations, wipe it clean, even though we're changing other shift. But we wipe it. At the decom, we wipe the basins. Make sure that you're starting fresh, making sure you are starting with not thinking about, oh, who did this, who washed that. No, clean that spot and use it. The book is going to tell you some of them have to be done once in a day, fine. But for your own practical sake, make sure when you go in there, you clean everything. You clean your workstation, keep the place clean. The cleaner the place, the better your chances of getting the patient care that you want, okay? Or from the things that you're going to clean from there. It's better for you too, and you'll be very proud of yourself. The floors and the rest, at my job, we don't even do the floors like that. It's for housekeeping. So just read about it, but you will not be doing all that. The horizontal surfaces, you may be doing it because of the workstations that you have. You have horizontal surfaces there too. Clean them, wipe them out. Other services, some of them are regular. And there are specific numbers that the book talks about. Please take note of them because for the questions and answers sake, what numbers they give you, if they say they should be done once in a day, please answer it as such. But if you go to the field and you think that you can wipe it, as long as you are there, you can wipe it. When you are free to wipe it, wipe it. To be confident of yourself that okay, what I'm doing, I know I'm clean here. But look at the numbers that the books put up, CDC puts up, and make sure that when you're doing questions and answers, you just go by what the book is saying. Like other services, including walls, cabinets, should be cleaned as regularly scheduled by the housekeeping. My place like that, they come every day anyway. But sometimes we have to also tell them, please do this for us, please do that for us. Okay. But then this is what the book is saying. If it's a regular schedule, that's the answer that you have to give them. All right. Light fixtures and other covers. Those are mostly directors and co will be taking care of that. We going in to do the cleaning and stuff and doing our decon. We're not going to be worried too much about that. But please read it and let's know and keep and take note of that in case you see it in the test. Just answer it as they specified in the book for you. Other environmental cleaning requirements, I think you will not have to worry yourself too much about it. Let's look at the elements of transmission and the chain of infection. Ready? So the clean, let's take care of it. Now let's look at the elements of trust. Is anybody watching our time? Are we good?
Yes.
We've had an hour now. Do you want us to take our 15-minute break?
Yes.
All righty. You should have hinted me. Okay. So I think we're going to take our 15-minute break. We come back at 4:17, okay?
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Welcome. Hello, are we back?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
thanks for coming so promptly. That is good.
Yes, we're back.
All right, so now we're going on to the elements of transmission and the chain of infection. The chain of infection is a bit complicated thing. It involves 6 elements that we have to be present, but then we have to take it seriously. So I'm going to slow down a little bit, and we're going to make sure we have the real examples that makes us understand it. Wherever you get a test on it, whatever the deal I'm making with you guys is that whatever I'm teaching you, this chapter or other chapters that I'll take care of, you'll have to make sure you're not missing a question from those chapters. Okay?
All right.
Missing any question. So if you need anything, you have to let me know, because I want to be as clear as possible so that those questions will be like bonus to you when you beat them. Okay? All right. So the transmission of infectious agents in a healthcare setting requires 6 elements. That's according to the CDC, which will be coming across a lot of times. The CDC is a very, very influential and critical agency in central service. Okay. So even if they're in the news, you have to read about them. Everything about them affects us. So always be careful when you see them. Don't ignore whatever comes about CDC. Okay. So they're saying that the transmission requires, in healthcare setting, requires 6 elements. And these 6 elements, I have put them in an abbreviation like CRPMPS, the CRPMPS, which is the C being the causative agent, which, as you know, you see on the screen. You see that nice diagram there. Those are the causative agents. Those are the 6, okay? The first one is the causative agent, which are clearly defined in there. Try to exhaust those definitions. Just understand them. Don't do the Baba type. No, just understand them. Okay. So the causative agent has exotic characteristics such as invasiveness. How does it invade? I think we have the clearer explanations on the screen, but I'm going to go into it too. Okay. The causative agent is the first link. Okay. Meaning that for the organism to get, or the bacteria, the virus, or the fungi, the protozoa, or whatever it is to get in, there should be a causative agent, all right? And that's the first link of the chain of infection. We call it a chain because we think they are linked together, all right? They are linked together. So when it's a cause, it has certain characteristics, and that's why it talks about the invasiveness, right? The ability of the organism to invade the host. Okay, it has to be able to get into your system, which is the host system. So that is one characteristic of the causative agents, which is the link, first link that we're talking about. And it talks about the pathogenicity, which is the ability of the organism to gain entry into the host. Its ability, how does it maneuver to get in there? It has to be very defined, but how does it even maneuver to get in there? And then it has the virulence, which is the degree of pathogenicity. How dangerous is it? How bad is it? When it gets into my system, how bad is it going to be? And then the infectious dose, how much do I need? What is the quantity of it to get into my system to be able to knock me down, to be able to bring a disease? And the viability in the free state, which is the ability of the organism to survive outside the host. Okay? Once it's in there, fine. So if it gets out, how is it able to survive? Is it going to just die out, or it's still going to survive even on the outside? Then we go to the ability to develop resistance. Okay, and that resistance is to antimicrobial agents. And we keep saying that these organisms, like look at the virus that came up with this COVID, has been mutating, keep going round and round and round. That should be a typical example for you. So long as it keeps mutating, it gets difficult to treat it. All right, it gets complicated. You could see it, and the same medication that you used for it the first time is still going to work for it the second time, because it has mutated, it has changed, it has gone to another level, getting very difficult to control it. So the causative agents usually have these characteristics. That's why I say they are exotic, because they have this invasiveness thing, and all this going the pathogenicity and all that. So those are their characteristics, which the questions don't go like into details with this because it's more biological. So, but then it's going to tell you the causative agent as a link. Yeah, be mindful of it. Those 6, be mindful of them. The second one is the reservoir or the source. Okay, the second one is the reservoir or the source, which I consider it like a home. Okay, when we say a reservoir, we know what a reservoir is, like a unit where we keep our reserve of something. It's mostly secondly to a home or house or something. So look at it this way. This agent, the causative agent, has to have somewhere where it's going to stay as a reservoir. And the reservoir is the home for it. And the definition that they gave for the reservoir is that, which is as the second link, is a place in which an infectious agent can survive. You do survive in your house, right? You survive at home. So consider it a home for the causative agent. There's a place that it can survive. It should be a home so the reservoir should be a home for this agent, this chain, this link. So we say that the reservoir should be like, we can liken it to a home because it's a place where this causative agent can reside and can survive. All right. I know you remember that since I related to a home. And there we see another word that comes up there as a carrier, which is the infected, but when somebody is infected but displays no symptoms, we call the person a carrier because he has it in him or her, but it's not showing any signs. And that's one of the gray areas that also puts the definition right there in the book, in the textbook. You can see it says a carrier, a person or organism infected with an infectious disease agent, but displays no symptoms. Although unaffected by the disease themselves, carriers can transmit it to others. Okay? So there could be a question like that. You could say, okay, the person is a carrier. Is it possible that the person is going to transmit it? You should be able to answer it. That's why I say you have to understand it. Don't just chew it. No, understand it. And that's why I make mention of those words, those terms when I come across them. All right. So where we have the reservoir, you see the person, as I said, the microorganism has a home now, but the person may not even show signs or symptoms of it. The person is a carrier. So as a reservoir, the person is a carrier, is carrying it around, no symptoms. Okay. That's why I'm liking the reservoir to a home. And then we go to the next one, which is a portal of exit, which is a door or a home outlet. Imagine, okay, you have a door at your home. When you're home, when you have to get out, you have to get out through that door, right? Okay, so that's an exit for you. So that's a portal of exit. And liking it to the door tells you like, okay, the person, the agent has to come out. The link has to go out somewhere, all right? So that is where it's going to go through. So which the book tells you so many places that we could use as the portal of exit. Okay, it tells you so many places that you could use as the portal of exit. And then it says the next one is the mode. The M is the mode of transmission. How does the agent travel? How does it get out? We know COVID was airborne, right? So it was when somebody sneezes within 6 feet, we have to mark ourselves that stay away from others. Even if you're in the queue or a line, make sure the next person is 6 feet away because we didn't want it to travel through the air to get you. Because we knew that, we knew how to control it or how to break the chain. So we have to know the mode of transmission. How does the agent travel? All what we see on this image, the slide that you see now, it has all of them there with very, very genuine examples. I'm only breaking it down, telling you that the mode of transmission is how this causative factor that has got into the body is going to manage to get out and travel around and move around, okay, or spread. Okay, then we go to the portal of entry, which is in the next, where it's going to actually infect the door, which I consider, I don't take that as his home now, but it's going to like a workplace. So what entry is he going to use to get into that workplace where he's going to work now? Okay, so that's the portal of entry, which is, it has now moved out of the reservoir. It has gone through there. It got it out. It has taken its travel, whether it's going by Uber or Lyft. Now it has to enter a door to get somewhere. That's the portal of entry where the infection is going to take place. All right. Yeah. So all these slides that you say, if you can mark them in your book, that will be very, very great. It's going to give you the whole story of it, how the sequence goes. All right, the examples I'm giving you is just to relate it and make you remember it. Then we get to the susceptible host. Most of the time, this person has no security. Take it to like you're going to a home to invade it. When you go there and the person has no security, no cameras, nothing, the person is susceptible. It's a susceptible host. You can get it even by closing your eyes, you could get it. That is the same thing. This organism is going to get into this susceptible. Remember, it could go to so many hosts, but then the one that has no security, the one that has no immunity, that's the one that's going to be susceptible. If you have the immunity, you are not susceptible. You are not susceptible if you have the security. Do we get it? Anybody needs a clarification of that? So long as it's not, it has no security, it has nothing to protect it. Okay, like when I was talking of the COVID thing, if it gets to you and you have your mask, the genuine one, the real one that you need on your nose, right? Where the port of entry is closed, the portal of entry is closed, it's protected. It's a kind of security for you. So are you going to be susceptible at that time? It's not going to get in. But if it's able to get in and you have a lower immunity, you are susceptible at that time. You become the susceptible host. Do you have any questions about the chain? Anyone with any questions about the chain of infection? So the mode of transmission, we have to take it very serious because every disease has its own mode of transmission. One can go by direct contact, one can be airborne, one can be like through cats. We have HIV came, we saw how it could get transmitted. COVID came, so many chickenpox. We have tuberculosis. They all have modes of transmission, which is how did they travel? How did they spread? So always understand that. How does this disease get to the next person? How does it spread? As a CS professional, you should be able to break that chain. Knowing how it spreads, you should be able to break it. Are we all at the same page?
Yeah.
Anyone with any question? Because these are things, as I said in the beginning, this is what you're going to do. Every day you get to work, these are the things that you're going to do. These are the things that you're going to see. You have to break that chain or else you fail as a CS professional. You must be able to break it. And these are the things you're going to use. So I'm trying to exhaust it with practical examples, homemade examples, so that you have to remember it. You have to remember it. It's going to keep you on your toes on the job. Keep you on your toes when you're doing the exam. At least you remember something about how it gets into the susceptible host, why it gets into it, how can it get it? Did it go by air or was it by cut or by what? So that you know, oh, this is the transmission. So if they give you that scenario, say, how do you break this link? What are you going to do? Now you know that, oh, it goes by this, so I can cut it off by doing this. TB goes by this, I can cut it by, HIV goes by this, I can cut it by this way. Okay? So that is the chain of infection. One of your goals is to break this chain of infection. That is what you have right now. Any questions? Or we'll go to the next slide. So you know the reservoir is the most complicated one. As I think about it, the reservoir is the most complicated one because some will carry it without knowing, some will carry it knowing it, but then no sign, no symptoms. And even now, we know like certain diseases like HIV like that, they have medication that they take, and it doesn't even show when you testing them to read. Okay, so that is where I think it's a bit complicated, but it's not too complicated. For you, yours is just to know it as a reservoir, that it can stay there, it can get out through the portal of exit, and then go on to spread. All right. So that's what you have to know. Now, the next slide tells you about preventing this pathogen transmission. And I always, as Prof said, the pathogen is always which ones? The unfriendly microorganisms, right? The 5% that are unfriendly. Okay, so you have to prevent this pathogen transmission. How are you going to do that? Everything explained here. I want one of you to look at this in your book, the pathogen transmission, and read it out to us. You see how it's laid out on this slide? If you have it the same in the book, I want one person to read it out to us. Who's gonna, Yusuf? Yusuf, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, can you, do you have the book?
Yeah, I have it.
Okay, so if you're on this same page with the preventing pathogen transmission, just read the bulleted points there for me.
I haven't found it here on my book.
Director, can you give us the page for it? Who has it? Is anyone
Sure.
abreast with us in the book so you could read the bulleted points as we have on the screen now?
On Charles.
Yeah, the preventing pathogen transmission. I wanted them to find the page and read the bulleted points out to us. Somebody to read it out to us.
Okay, sure. Let me look. I thought
Are you talking about the portal of entry?
No, the preventing part. You see that the slide that you have on right now?
Yeah.
It tells us about preventing the pathogen transmission. We know they transmit through certain ways. How do we prevent it? And that's why they put down here. And I want someone to read it to us.
Perform proper hand hygiene.
Okay.
You want me to read everything or just the first one?
Yeah, one by one, yeah. I want you to go through.
Okay, the first one is perform proper hand hygiene.
Hand hygiene, which is the hand washing that we spoke about, right? It's common,
Yes.
but you have to make sure it's proper. All right?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, so the next one.
Follow cleaning, decontamination, disinfection, and sterilization protocols.
The protocols. In account, some people will say, oh, where they are married, it's a ritual. No. When you go there, we tell you, this is how we do it. No cross-contamination. Wash your hands, put up the PPE, do this, use these parameters. Those are the protocols. Make sure you follow them. Don't say that, oh, I know this train now. I can close my eyes and put them in. Please don't do it. Follow the protocols, okay? Follow the protocols. So which one is the next one?
The next one is adhere to standard and isolation precautions.
The precautions. The aseptic activity that you're going to do. Follow it. No cross-contamination. Know what is clean, know what is dirty, know what is sterile, and make sure you follow that. As soon as there's a mistake, correct it right away. I gave an example that sometimes we wrap a tray nicely, we forget to put it, we don't remember we put in an indicator, which is something that determines whether it's sterile or not, right? After it comes out of the clip. If you are not sure it's in there, do the corrective action right away. Unwrap it, go through it and make sure it's in there before you re-wrap it. It's not going to take you the whole day. Even if it's going to take you the whole day, you have a peace of mind when you go home. Okay? So which one is next?
Ensure proper food handling and water treatment.
That's the thing. But that one, director will take care of that on the job anyway. Because sometimes yours is just to use what you have there, right? In case there's any problem with it, you have to let your manager or somebody know as soon as possible. That's one of the corrective actions. Hey, director, this thing is not working right. So that they correct it, because we can't compromise. And at that point, there's no compromise. We don't cut corners. We do things as has been specified. All the processes have to be followed like that. So you tell them right away, they'll find a way to make sure you get the right temperature, they get the right purification system and everything that is supposed to make sure you get the patient care that we need. All right? Which one is next?
Maintain heating, ventilation, and air conditioning system to prevent airborne spread.
Okay. You saw I told you one of the list. Thank you. That was Joseph, right?
Yes.
Thank you so much. I told you
welcome,
one of the temperatures that we saw, right? I told you to make a note of that page. You see those temperatures, the decon, the temperature, the 60, 65, they are very important. And that's how you can keep these temperatures. You don't go and stand there and say, oh, I don't know about it. I need somebody who worked here for long to do it. No. I'm telling you that charisma is going to be different. So long as you're coming through this line, you're going to be different in the field. You're going to show them what you got, because we're going to give you everything. I didn't get it. I told you before, I didn't get it this way that I'm giving you. But you are getting it now. So you are going to be different. It doesn't matter that it's your first day. Anything that you see that is not right in the book, just let a friend know or let somebody know. Okay? Oh, they told me this is how it is, because I'm telling you, you are dealing with people who know what they are telling you. I was so happy when Prof was taking care of those microbiology stuff. I didn't get it like that. I had to learn it myself. But you see how he broke it down? There were some we had in school, like this cells and things. But you see how practical he was with it, with homemade examples. That is what is going to make you stand out. Wherever you go, you're going to excel and show them that charisma. You are going to be an ambassador by making sure there is no compromise at the CS. And wherever you're standing, you are in control. You know what you're doing. Okay. So by preventing the pathogen transmission, you see that there's nothing difficult in it. It's just about our environmental activities that we're going to do. The hand washing. It's serious. The nails, the ornaments, the jewelry. All right? We have to take good care of it. We don't have to compromise anything. And that's why I'm slowing down on this topic. So that we've seen this. Director, can we get the next slide? So we see that we can prevent the pathogen transmission. We as individuals can prevent it. And if we prevent it, it means that we're going to get the output that we want. We've done our part. And then now we talk of the portal of entry, which I gave an example that how do you enter your home? When you're going home, you enter a door, right? There should be a way for you to get in there. So this organism is going to use some point to get in. And that's what we have here listed here for us. So another person, can I get someone else to go through this for us? Anyone with a page who can also go through just like Joseph did? The portal of entry.
Prof, this was lifted verbatim from, directly from the book. So you can read from here. Anyone who wants to volunteer, it's good when you are learning, all your senses learn along, your eyes, your mouth, your ears. That's how you engage. For those of you who have other life engagement that's making you difficult to read a book, this is time for you to shine. This is the time for you to practice, volunteer yourself. That's how we know you. That's how we get to know how you need help. So anybody wants to volunteer?
Thank you, Director. That's what I want you to do. Get yourself involved. Let's go, okay? Just get yourself involved. You remember it better with that.
I'll read it.
Okay, Shania, thank you so much, yeah?
No problem. The portal of entry is the pathway used by an infectious agent to enter a susceptible host. Patients are particularly vulnerable when their normal defense mechanisms are bypassed. Common portals of entry. Respiratory tract is the inhalation of airborne pathogens. Genitourinary tract is the entry through urinary or reproductive systems. Gastrointestinal tract is the ingestion of contaminated food or water. Skin/mucous membranes are for cuts, wounds, or surgical incisions.
All right, so you see what Shania just told us? These are just a few, but these are typical examples that you can use. I use an example as you need a door. You need a door to get through. These things are acting as a door, as a way for the infection to get through. Okay? That's all you have to think about. Your nose is right there, your mouth, your eyes, and see how they put it scientifically. But go on with the traditional example, which will make you remember that those are the areas. Your ears, you have cuts, there's a surgery somewhere. Everything. Just think about it as an entry. The portal of entry. That's it. All right. So Director, can we get the next slide? The prevention measures. So now who is going to help us with that? Measures.
Yeah, I'm gonna help you.
Okay. Thank you so much. What's your name, Tahir?
Yeah, Tahir.
Tahir, good.
Yeah, prevention measures. Pathway for infection agents. Maintain clean and sterile technician during patient care.
Yeah.
Perform proper hygienic to reduce.
Tyro, do you have another device? Do you have another device open, like a computer?
Yes, I have other devices.
Mute them. Mute one of them completely and turn down the volume before.
All right, sir. No, coming when.
Yeah, take your time.
So it's muted.
Okay, yeah,
What
let's
about
go
the
ahead.
microphone? The microphone also has to be muted. I hope you don't have any other person listening to this. Then you have to pay too. But just kidding. Yeah, both the microphone of the one that you've turned the volume down, you have to mute that microphone, else we are going to cause.
We have echoes coming in.
Yes,
Good, thank you.
you're welcome. So prevention measures, pathways for infection agent, maintain clean and sterile technician during patient care,
Mhm.
perform proper and hygienic to reduce contamination risk,
Yeah.
use only properly disaffected or sterilized instrument for invasive producers.
Mhm. Properly
Save
sterilized instruments. That is your job. You see that? I keep mentioning it. If you
Yeah.
don't do your job right, we can't get those properly sterilized instruments. That is your job. So the parameters, you get the appropriate parameters, you get the instruments to the OR as properly sterilized. All right?
All right.
Let's go. Yeah.
Safely handle and dispose of sharps to prevent contamination.
Yeah, let me come in there. The sharps are the needles, the scalps, the knives, we call them knives, right? Whenever we have to dispose them of, I showed you an image of those containers that are marked. That's where we put them. We don't just dump them anywhere or put them in any garbage. No. We have a lot of things that have to go into specific bins. We have BIs, which is biological indicators. You got to know about it. We have those chemical indicators. The sharps, they all have bins to go in because we don't just dispose them off. And that is part of your work. Environmentally, you have to make sure it's clean there. And you can't leave those things around. They are so sharp, the needles. They are so sharp. But remember, they're all treated as infectious. So they have to go into the specific bins that are marked clearly for them. All right? So here, let's go on again.
All right, ways to reduce susceptibility.
Yes. Okay, hold on there. That was where I was saying that some people have no security. I used somebody without, like this door doesn't even have a lock. You just push it and you're in, right? So that's being susceptible. So if we say that you're susceptible, it means your security is very weak. Your door is open, and the person just can't just get in. The organism can just get in. And now it's telling us how we can reduce that, which is a very, very good point that I think everybody should take note. Okay, let's go with it.
Treat underlying diseases.
Hmm.
Example, managing blood sugar in diabetes.
Yeah.
So, I don't come with it.
So if
I
like
think
people with
that
diabetes,
vaccines- Okay.
yeah, there are certain diseases that will make you susceptible to these infections. And that's what it's telling you about. Make sure that those things are treated.
Mhm.
Those are going to be very personal with us. But then we can also advise our colleagues, look, this is the only way you can stay away of being susceptible. So if you have this, especially if somebody's overweight, we know that they are so vulnerable to so many infections because they already have underlying factors that can cause it, that can precipitate it. All right. So what this is telling you is to stay away from that. Make sure you are going to set up that barrier in yourself to make sure your immunity is good, to make sure underlying causes that could open your door, that could leave your door weak for people for any organism to get in, any disease to get in. Try as much as possible to work on that. And that is mostly for us too, as CS professionals. Don't go there with being a susceptible host, okay? Because you need to protect yourself. You are precious to your family. Your life is precious. We live life once. Don't go there being susceptible so that you're going to be no. That's why you have the PPs and everything. But then if you have underlying factors that affect your health, please take care of that too. Okay? take care of that. Make sure you have that barrier. Protect yourself, and then use all the protocols that we have. And then that is good education for us that you also have to impart to others. Then look, if you have these underlying factors and you don't protect it or you don't work on it, you're gonna open your door. My friend will say your door will be left ajar. I had a classmate who always talked about that. Leave your door ajar. So you are going to leave your door ajar, and anything can get in, which is not what you want. All right. So don't be, as the CS professional, don't be a susceptible host. And then you can educate other people on that. Because I know that even at the OR, before certain procedures, they educate the patients on so many things. You have this, so we gotta treat you this way. We gotta give you this appointment, follow up here, until you get to the point where they think that, oh, it's good to take care of your body right at that point and do the surgery or whatever incision or whatever procedure. All right. So this is an advice to us, which is going to be personal in some ways, but then as a professional, you should be able to tell other people about it, your family and everybody. This course is more like a whole, what we call it. It's an approach that actually takes care of the whole human, the whole body. It's not just for you. For you to be a very good CS professional, you are going to be an all-rounder, and everybody's going to be depending on you, on the job and out of the job. Okay? So all these things are clues for you to update yourself. Thank you, Tahir. Is there any other thing for anybody to add? Anybody has anything to add on how, your own way, how you think that you can prevent this kind of, prevent yourself from being susceptible? There are so many ways. I want somebody to add something to it, something that is not in there.
Hand washing.
Good one. You see, as simple as that. Is that Shania?
It's Johar.
Johar, good one. You see, it's as simple as that. I'm telling you, there's nothing new here. It's just that the agencies have reorganized all this to put it together for us, to make use of it appropriately to get the patient care that we want. And that's all. So get it out of your head. That is difficult. It's not difficult. It's just be realistic, be practical, and follow what we teach you and practice it. Anybody has anything again? Imagine, let me give you this. Imagine, okay, I'm a CS professional. Can I go to work drunk?
No,
Why can't I go drunk?
you would get fired.
Okay, that's a good one. Okay, apart from fired, what is going to happen to me on the job? Am I going to be able to do the sterilization right, to be able to follow the principles of asepsis and all that?
No.
Definitely, I'm going to cross-contaminate so many things. I'm going to put clean things next to sterilized things, all right? You see? So there are certain things that will make us like vulnerable. We have to consider all those things and practice it. And those are ways that we can stay away from it. If I go drunk, I could get myself hurt on the job. Getting hurt, it's easy to get infected, especially at the decon. Right? Especially at the decon. There are so many needles coming in, so many scalpels, all these things coming in. And you're drunk standing there. Even if the director doesn't say to fire you, you are hurting yourself. You're going to hurt yourself and get yourself infected. Okay? So those are, it's not, that's what I'm saying. It's more like a holistic approach to your life. It's a holistic, this training is a holistic approach to your own life. Anybody add anything? Or we go on to the next slide, which is the conclusion. But what I want you guys to do is, one of you is going to read this to conclude what we did today, and then we're going to ask questions. So who is going to read it? Apart from Shania and those that have contributed, I want somebody else to read our conclusion as is bulleted here. We read it and we discuss it and conclude.
All right, I will do that.
That's Hadi, right?
Yes.
Good job.
All right, so conclusion. Ongoing challenges for central service technicians. First point, ensuring instrument and equipment are safe for patients' use.
Okay, let's see. So hold on from there. You have to make sure the equipment are safe for use, right?
Yes.
And that's why we're going to use all the processes that we have mentioned to make sure that there was no cross-contamination, We follow the decon, we follow all the protocols, the one-way traffic, whereby the instruments come through the decon, they get clean and be safe for handling. So they go to the clean side to be handled there for processing, for inspection, for assembly, for packaging, sterilization, and then transporting it safely without actually compromising the integrity of the sterility. All right? You see that it's like a story, but it goes on around and comes back and then goes around again. It's the same thing. It's a one-way traffic. Keep it in your mind. Traffic in this central service is one way. There's no two-way there. It's one way. And that's the only way you can prevent the cross-contamination. So that's what he has just said. And we get the instruments safely and sterile to the OR. Okay? Let's go to the next one.
Adapting to advances in technology.
Okie dokie. So you see how things are going right now. I have some images that if I can get, I will let you guys see. The ORs, you go to an OR now, which is the operating room. You see different things there. We have what is it? All these towers, these lights, so many things, computers, different kinds. And when you get in there, it's like, what is this? How do they use all this? Cylinders hanging everywhere, sockets, red sockets, white sockets, cables down somewhere. What is this? You're going, but that is high tech now. Technology is going up right now. Incisions, operation surgeries that they could do, like open the whole human body. Now they could just cut like your fingernail and make an incision and use this laparoscopics and what is it? All these scopes which you get to know to do a major procedure. So you have to be abreast with these things that we're talking of. Technology is moving fast, and it's very fast in the central service. Very fast. You have all these cameras, these 4K cameras coming in, the Image One cameras. You have these endoscopes coming in, flexible ones, tell you everything that is in the human body. We have so many things coming up. Even though we're going to introduce you to it, remember, by the time you are out, there are new ones coming in. So you have to always rely on updating yourself. Okay? Don't say that, oh, I've seen it, so that's it. No, it could change the next day. The camera that you saw today that they're using for surgeries, the next day it's not there. There's a smaller one, a more complex one, a remote one, a wireless one. Okay? So the ORs of yesterday are different from the ORs of today. Similarly, the central service personnel from yesterday are different from those from today, because those from today keep going up in technology. Everything is changing. There are times that we may not even, I think we'll be doing procedures at home very soon. Okay, that's how technology is going. All right, there was a commercial on one of the TV stations where this guy was trying to remove his own appendix. I don't know who was guiding him, and then he called the ambulance later on. They came and carried him, and he, on the bed, he's asking himself, I don't know why I tried to even take my own appendix. You see that? That is, that was a commercial. Now look at it, say, is this ever going to happen? But at least the way technology is going, very soon people will be doing it. Okay, so that's by the way. So which one is the next point?
Addressing new microbiological challenges.
Okay, we said this. You look at, I use COVID as an example, right?
Yeah.
I know we have other forms of the virus. It keeps mutating every day. People that have kids here, the director will bear witness of that. You take your kid to the doctor and say, we don't know what is happening. Let's do the test. Okay? Because the symptoms keep coming up and they're different. They're similar, but they're different. The medication doesn't work with them completely. So you got to go through tests. My little girl, I took her for several tests. He said, Daddy, my throat is hurting. But each time I go, they have to do a test to do the strip. They can't find what is the straight thing that is actually happening. The symptoms are more flu-like, but it's not it. So you see how things are going right now? It's practical. And we have, once we see it, we should know that, yes, we have to upgrade ourselves. We have to catch up with technology and know what is going on. All right? Are we all on the same page?
Yep.
Okay, so let's go to the next one.
Importance of infection control and prevention.
The importance of it, all right?
Yeah.
That is the importance of it. So imagine that people have sat down and giving you all these tricks, all these processes that if you follow, we can prevent this. We can cut that link. The link, we've shown you the link. This is how the link is. There are 6 steps and it goes from here to that side and they're all linked. So if you're able to halt it at one point, you cut the link. How important is that? It gives you your health. It gives everybody, the stakeholders, everybody gets to do what he's supposed to do. You get the safe instruments into the hands of the surgeon to actually get the patient care that you want. It comes out good. Everybody's okay. That's how important this prevention thing is. And that's how important you are as a central service professional. I don't call myself a technician. I call myself a professional. Because at times the doctor will come and stand by you and ask you, oh, I want this instrument done. No. You say, doctor, this instrument has to go through this before it gets to that point. So give me this time. You are a professional. As soon as you get in there, so right now you are a professional in being, okay? Don't consider yourself that, oh, this job is just going to clean. You're not going to clean stuff. You're going to sterilize stuff. You're going to protect infection. You're going to cut the length of this infection chain. That's what you're going to do. And trust me, you will bring it home and practice it at home. It's going to happen in your homes too. No matter what. After you get out of this, even your home, everything is going to change. Because what you're learning here, it's going to get into your home. It's going to be part of you. That's why I say you are going to be the professional. You're not just going to be a tech. On paper, you say you're a tech, but in your mind there and the brain that you have now, you'll be a professional. And that is what we have to practice. And by practicing that, we could be the real ambassadors of charisma, as I said. We have to take pride in you and make sure that we let you shine as you go. That's why we're going through all this with those little but practical and homemade examples and getting you to participate. I hope no one is offended by pushing you to participate. But that's how I am anyway. A lot of times I teach, but let me give you one. Okay, it's not about like maybe telling you what I do, but the point is I've taught a lot of classes. Even in the formal education, yes, and higher education, yes. Back home, there was that in Ghana. If I say back home is in Ghana, I'm from Ghana. I'm a Shanti, but I grew up in the northern part of Ghana. So when I say back home, it's Ghana, but mostly in the north anyway. So I had the opportunity to teach policemen that were going to write a promotion letter, a promotion exam to get into the inspector grade. I just chanced to meet them because my dad had a friend taking the exam too. They were being taught, but they were still struggling with it. So my dad's friend came to me and said, Charlie, look at my notes that he gave me in school. I don't know, I can't even understand anything. I looked at it. It was more like some current affairs stuff. So I looked at it, I went through, I said, Dad, I get off work at 5 p.m. When I get home by 6 to 7, can you get time every day to do it? He said, yes. So I started explaining his notes to him. The next week, I had all his colleagues in the class coming to my house in the evening to get the same explanation. Trust me, we had 100%. Even though I was an unofficial teacher, they had 100%. And that's what I want from this group, okay? You're definitely going to get it. All you have to do now is put your effort in it. All right?
Yes.
Anybody has any question to ask? Any questions? Okay, so we're going to this slide. Now we have the conclusion, which you guys have put up. Who is going to take care of this slide for us?
I will.
Okay, let's try that.
The role of a CST technician in infection control. CS technicians play a critical role in breaking the chain of infection by ensuring all medical instruments and equipment are properly cleaned, disinfected, and sterilized. By adhering to infection prevention protocols, using proper sterilization method, and maintaining aseptic techniques, CS professionals helps help protect patients from life-threatening infection.
Thank you very much. You see that was Yusuf?
Yes, please.
That is good. So you see that you summarize everything now for us. That is what we do. And that's how important it is. Even though we have gone through all this, if anybody has anything, you could call director or tell him about it. Or if you need to get in touch with me, you talk to director, you give him my personal number that you can call me and we discuss it. But if anybody has anything now, you could tell me now, or you could take your quiz now if you want to do it.
Thank you so much, Professor Charles. Guys, I see a typo on the screen. Please take your quiz now. Anyway, not, so if you are thinking, you're going to get away from it, you're not getting away from it. The quiz for this chapter is combined, both practice and the quiz, both practice and quiz are combined. So I've given you a lot of time and you can rest, more than 5 times throughout the quiz. So take your time. If you can't start now because you are not home, you can do that later. And I would request from all the instructors to send me their contact information, which I know I do have the official one they want to put up on the website, their portrait, nice picture that we can put up on the website so that if anyone wants to reach out for any clarification or any personal encounter, they can do that. Other than that, that was a very sterling performance. Thank you so much, Professor Charles. Next week, I believe, is Professor John. I know he's on the phone. He's the one with the iPhone, I suppose, from yesterday. So there's now going, just to repeat, there's not going to be practice. For now, there's not going to be practice questions for chapter 5. Let's do both, I think, 3 questions. If you're not ready now, don't start. You can do it throughout the day and for that matter, the week. If there's any change, I'll put it on the WhatsApp group. Any questions, suggestions, complaint, any other matter, even if it is not here, we still have time, you can say.
Okay, Director. I received 2 different results from yesterday's quiz.
You received 2 results?
Yeah, 2 different results.
Yes, because you've attempted more than one.
Well, I did only one, but I received 2 different results.
Oh, okay. So the reason why you got that is the system is set up that every now and then it releases the scores, right? So if you have attempted more than one, or you started for some reason you couldn't finish, it registers you as started. That's the only explanation that I can give you. So your email address will appear twice. So when it's sending you the score, it will send you both so that you see if there's any change in your score. Let's say the first one you had 80, but the second one you had 100. It will send you 2 scores. So if one you had 0, that's from the error from yesterday when our IT people were working on the website. I sent email correspondence this morning, text message correspondence this morning to tell people to disregard. So don't worry about that. We have official records of everybody. Towards the end of the program, for those who would advise not to take the exams, we would, approach you nicodemously. For those who can take the exams or who are fit to take the exams, we would, also discuss that with you and make our recommendations. For those who, for so far, I haven't seen anyone here who, is likely not to, take the exam because you're all doing your exam. Most of you are doing your exams on time and you're getting high scores, continue as such. But if it comes to, a situation where some people are performing very terribly or they are performing terribly, we would have that conversation and make personal or one-on-one tutoring with you to see how we can lift your performance. All right. Gifty, I think you've already taken this chapter 5. You have to do it again because of the old new version, I think the questions were mixed up. So we have just fixed it. You can take chapter 5 quiz again. All right,
Okay.
Gifty. All right, thank you.
Okay.
All right, so if you have something doing, you can go do it now. And for those who can take the quiz, take it now, but make sure that you do that by the end of this week. It will close on Friday night, 11:59. It's going to close automatically. And do well to read chapter 6 and 7 for next week. Without any further ado, thank you so much, everyone, for coming. We'll meet next week.
Thank you, Salam. Have a great evening.
Thank you. You too. Thank you, everybody. Enjoy your holiday tomorrow.